soon as I get this stimulus check, I'll get me a new microphone there.
Hey,
Man, you mean if we get that? I don't trust the government to give us nothing.
Hey, my aunt in Baltimore got hers.
say you
Word?
swear.
Yeah, my aunt in Baltimore got one.
Oh, we lit then, boy. We lit.
Wait,
I,
already?
yeah, I guess.
I need that shit
I
to
don't.
come quick. I need another gun.
Oh my! I wonder how they're deciding who gets what first. Like how are they getting it in the East Coast already? We haven't gotten it yet. Is it alphabetically or what? What's going on here?
I have no. I don't know. I don't know how they're prioritizing any of that stuff. It's kind of weird to
I'm
me.
checking my I'm checking my bank account right now as we speak. Live from
Everybody
my
wants
fucking
that.
bank account.
Man, you
100.
feel
Nope,
like
didn't get it.
you're gonna
checked
get it
this
last,
already.
man. You're in the military.
So I got kids. I'm still getting paid on Tuesday though. Yeah, man, trying to get that brand new fucking SIG MCX. Not sponsored, but if they sponsor us and give me a gun, I'd love it.
Ooh wee. You about to drive out all the people who are anti-gun right now.
Shit. I don't know why you'd be anti-gun, especially right now in this predicament.
He's talking airsoft. Disclaimer.
No, not it.
Allegedly. All right. What's going on, Piglets? It's your boy Taylor B, and I'm joined by my above-average co-host Daniel, DJ, and Joey. Welcome to another installment of Culture by the Uncultured. And before we go any further, be sure to click that follow or subscribe button. And remember, Culture by the Uncultured is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Culture by the Uncultured. All right, gentlemen, how are we doing? Come on, give it to us. Let's hear it. How's everybody handling this quarantine?
I'm not in a quarantine. I don't know what you're talking about. When people say quarantine to me, it's foreign to me. Okay. Oh, bars right there. But yeah. Dang it, I did not get my check. All right. Not that I need it. I was really hoping to, I'm waiting for it to pop up, but there's a certain half
It's like
of
a
me
nice surprise,
there's a certain half of me that's just like, you ain't getting your money from the government, fam. But the other half of me is just like, it's coming. Have faith. Don't worry.
Well, I mean, as I thought, I mean, it was to my understanding that the only things you needed, I mean, personally, to either to collect that check was to have filed your taxes in the last 2 years, and if you
Yeah.
don't owe any child support or anything like that, I mean, I'm pretty sure I qualify. So I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if I'm getting one, but that'd be nice.
Run me my money.
Big facts.
Yeah, that's
Big
what I was
facts.
thinking because it's because they were saying I called into the Department of Education, right? Because I've been paying back my debt for that to them, and they were like, "Oh, we've canceled all of everybody's debts and everything for the next month or so." And I'm like, "Y'all lying?" Because the last 2 checks I'm missing money, fam. So
Right.
So that other half of me that's doubting is like they gonna take all that money and just be like, "Oops, sorry."
Right.
Yeah, never gonna see a dime.
Right.
But pretty much they're not canceling any payments. They're just postponing those payments.
That's what they're supposed to be doing,
Yeah,
but
that's
my
what they're
check is
doing
still
right
short.
Yeah. So then you should have called them and asked them for a check too. Then since anyway. Oh, and also it's we happen to be recording on Easter Sunday, so anybody who
Shouts out to
celebrate
the Most
Happy
High,
Easter.
the resurrection and all. Yeah.
Resurrection Sunday. It's not Easter Sunday. I found out some terrible things about Easter. I'm never calling it Easter again. I'll tell you that much right now.
Go ahead, go in, Daniel. Go in.
Oh,
I want to hear this.
Is this
Boy, preach.
is this the conspiracy corner I've been asking for? All right, here we go.
Okay. Oh my God, what I just asked for. Okay.
So if anybody were to Google Easter and where it came from, you'd see it. Easter is actually from Ishtar, which is a fertility goddess. And what they would do is they would sacrifice their kids to this. They first of all they'd have this big orgy and have impregnate virgins, and then the 9 months later they'd take the kid and they'd sacrifice it to some god to some evil god or whatever, and then they take the blood from the sacrifices and paint the eggs and start this ritual. They whoever could get the most eggs, they were promised to be used in the next fertility fertility. What's the word I'm looking for here? Orgy. There we go.
Sound like them folks was
Yo,
wildin'.
I kind of Googled that while you were saying that, and I'm kind of following along. It's kind of weird. All right, happy Resurrection Sunday, everybody. I'm off Easter myself.
And even that's wrong too. Right? But even that's wrong too. It's not Resurrection Sunday. It was actually Resurrection Saturday night. But nobody wants to talk about that. But
Resurrection. Oh, that's why you were saying yes. Okay, that now it adds up. Makes sense now.
Hey, look. The day of celebration isn't always the day of happening. Okay, I mean, we celebrate Christmas supposedly for the birth of Jesus, but everybody knows he was born probably 3 to 6 weeks before that. So
yeah, it was actually sometime in like September is what they're saying, because of they had to go do a census and all that, but it only happens at that time in September and all that. But
possible history lessons here on Culture by the Uncultured.
Right.
All right, man. Brandon, what you got for us, G?
Well, I was gonna say, speaking of running people their money, when we was talking about the money, Adele's husband has been awarded like 140 million euros keep in mind, this is over the course of like 3 years. He's supposed to get this money.
Poetic justice.
Wait, time out.
That's so much money, bro.
What is her? You said 140 million.
140 million.
No. That's wrong. They're splitting. They're splitting 140 million of her 190 million
sure?
net worth. Yes.
Well, wait. Her worth is 190, and he wants 140.
No. They're splitting 140 of her 190, so he's only getting like 70 million.
Wait. What kind of work did he put in to get her money? Like what?
You better be asking for royalties for the next album. I want royalties from the next album.
I'm sorry. Did he write her songs?
I'm glad you brought up this train of thought, because we can ask the same thing about Jeff Bezos' wife. I'm just saying.
Well, she was a part of all that business though. Like I feel like on the I want to say like on the financial end, I listened to something where they were talking about it, what she actually contributed to the corporation. But it was like she was like an actual business partner, and helped with it from like the ground up, basically. But
yeah, but the same thing's been happening. The same thing's been happening to athletes all over the world. Every time we hear somebody getting a divorce from their wife, and it's just like, oh, they're getting half their money. Like when Tiger Woods was out there and got divorced, his wife's like split up 200 million. He forked over 200 million to her, and he was just like, well, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. You wasn't at the range with me 3 o'clock in the morning.
Honestly, we desperately need to change this. Right. I don't know who. I don't know what president. I don't know who. Like, I don't know what judge. This needs to be fixed. Like, I'm sorry. If I put in work, if I put in physical, real work, and earn money, finances, and on an emotional standpoint, if I fall out with somebody and we legally get married, or we're legally separating, you mean to tell me that our union is more of a business than it is a liking to each other? That makes me want to never get married and just get somebody who's really down with me and say, look, I can get you a ring, but I ain't taking none of your stuff, and you ain't touching none of my stuff.
Well, that's the purpose of a prenup, though. Yeah. Like you can get a prenup, and you can make a prenuptial agreement and say that, hey, like whatever I had prior to this marriage or whatever I'm going to like make, like they can only take a certain amount. That's why you see it happen a lot of times with a lot of these celebrities and a lot of people that are just
America.
America mostly, but you see it happen a lot where it lets these people go ahead and keep their money and do that sort of stuff. Honestly, like.
But that doesn't always work though, because did you guys watch that video I sent you about? It was the voice lawyer. He was interviewing that guy.
Did anybody watch that 2-hour video that Daniel sent you? No, I didn't think so.
Well, y'all. I mean, y'all could have listened to at least 30 minutes of it. You could have been able to understand what I'm about to say right now, because it's every prenuptial agreement is only can be tossed out by any judge at any time. it's up to the judge's discretion whether or not he keeps up that prenup. So that prenup actually means nothing in the grand scheme of things. You need post nuptials.
Hey man, so you mean to tell me it's up to a judge?
Yes.
To judge?
Yes. It is up to a judge to throw out your prenuptial agreement.
This is what I think. Okay, you know what? Somebody get me a black robe because I want to start making some decisions around this bitch. Okay. Go back to the very beginning. How we got to here. Adele is worth 190 million, and now she has to fork over 140.
Half of 140.
Then why even say half of 140? Why don't they just say 70?
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't care if you're 170. 190 to 70, bro. That's over a third of my worth. What did he really do?
It's not technically, when you hear that number, it's not money. It's pretty much their assets put together. Like if she owned a couple homes and they're splitting one of the homes, one of those homes is $40 million.
Jesus,
that's how he's getting it. That's how he's getting the money.
Remember that song? Remember that song she wrote? Never mind, I'll find someone like you.
Yeah.
I bet not.
No, she done already moved on to her Tyrone. She got one, so.
Oh, come on. Come on, bro.
I heard she was in a relationship with Skepta for a little bit. That's what's crazy.
UK rapper.
Yeah.
That's
so I don't know if like that, or if like this has been in like the works for a while. Like she's been like separated or divorcing for her husband for a while, and then finally it just got settled or whatever. But so I don't know what's going on with that situation. You know, best of luck to the both of them. I still can't believe somebody just getting 70 million for just being there. It's crazy. But moving on from there though, let's talk about a little bit of this craziness with the Young Guns inside the rap game, right? First and foremost, let's just talk about NBA YoungBoy and Kodak Black and the crazy real-time beef that's happening with a man that's in prison and a man that is free.
That goes to show a lot. What kind of person on the outside is beefing with somebody who's literally locked up and has nothing but time?
Why would you even like pay him any mind? He can't even do nothing.
Exactly.
He can't do anything. Literally can't do nothing.
And to make matters worse, NBA YoungBoy's mom went to social media and they let her have it because I don't know, like, is NBA YoungBoy whatever, a young boy or Young Money? I don't know. Is he just famous or does he have money?
I think of both. Actually, right now, I know he's done. I don't know if he's a part of like Cash Money or nothing, but I've seen Birdman in a lot of his music videos.
That means he ain't got no money.
Makes a lot of songs.
Birdman got all that.
He's got a lot of songs. He's got a lot of songs, and I know like he's like usually like the number one artist like for YouTube music. Like he's usually getting the most views for as far as music is concerned. I don't know his like actual career as far as like numbers or like being like the top of the charts or like how many platinum records he's got or anything like that. I definitely don't know none of his contracts.
We really got to start breaking down those statistics into age groups because the age at which people go search YouTube or look on SoundCloud and stuff like that really plays into this stuff because let's keep it real. If he had dropped at a different time, is he pulling these numbers? Probably not, man. So it's like I honestly never let the numbers thing get to me. But also, the reason why I was asking if he even had money was because his mom went to social media, and I'm gonna say this the clearest way I can. His mom looked toe up from the flow up. So like,
he does too. So
is you taking care of that woman? No, bro. I mean, like, makeup messed up, eyelashes messed up, like just don't even know how to speak like with no real. It was. I won't lie, it was irritating, and to see everybody come after her on social media, it's horrible. But I won't lie, I laughed a little bit because they started posting memes talking about how she looks, and I just couldn't help myself. But yeah, you arguing with a dude in prison? I'm sorry, fam, I can't respect that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you guys know where it all started over, right?
Not really.
Let me guess. A female.
Oh.
Yeah, you're actually right.
Buy a lottery ticket. Buy a lottery ticket.
Not quite like relationships or anything like that, but allegedly, what is her name? Yaya Mayweather? I don't know.
Yeah, that's his daughter.
So Floyd Mayweather's daughter stabbed one of NBA YoungBoy's baby mothers, and she got in trouble, and now she's facing like hella years for this, and It looks like, or people are alluding that he had to talk to the police so that he cooperated with them. And then I know NBA YoungBoy's lawyer got involved, saying like you have to. It's his house. It's not like he said what happened, but he was like, "Yes, somebody got stabbed. This is my house." Things like that. So Kodak basically called him a snitch, and then NBA YoungBoy went off and went off on Instagram. Then Kodak Black came back at him, like through a little Instagram post or whatever that I'm sure he wrote a letter or something or said something to one of his boys, and they posted it on his Instagram or Twitter.
Crazy.
And then it's just been back and forth, and NBA YoungBoy just looks hella crazy talking to like ghosts on camera, and Kodak Black is just like sunning him like left and right, and I'm just like, these young boys out here are crazy, and the crazy part is we know who the real snitch is, and it's 6ix9ine. And he out here trolling already, and ain't nobody saying nothing about him.
How did we get back to this? Oh my god! And you know who I feel bad for though? I really feel bad for Floyd. Floyd Mayweather has had a rough 6 months. It started with his baby mom's passed away, right? And then
his uncle died, right?
And then the original Black Mamba, Roger Mayweather, he passed away. So I was his uncle and trainer. One of pretty much. I'm keep it real. Sometimes he was closer to his uncle than he was to his own father, just because of personality differences. Yeah. And then he's got this thing with his daughter happening. Now she's facing, I think I read 99 years.
That's crazy.
What? Over what? Like, you honestly, that girl, she must feel what? Does she not feel stupid or embarrassed at all? Like, you're in a position of, you're probably well off. You don't need money. You have everything that you need, but you let your attitude get the best of you, and you're stabbing people's baby moms. Like, what?
There's something about getting rich. There's something about being rich and wanting to go back to the streets so bad. I don't get it.
It's really crazy. I just can't respect that.
I don't get it, because she was getting to that point where she was getting like, there's videos of her training with her dad, and it kind of makes you think like, okay, maybe this is like a prodigy that's coming up. Obviously she's going to try to follow in his footsteps and do all this shit, and then you hear stuff like this come up, and it's kind of like, it's all wasted potential, all wasted opportunity of someone that could have done a whole lot better with their life.
Was the baby mom pregnant at the time of her stabbing?
I don't know if she was pregnant or not. I have no idea.
That's the only way I can see them giving her 99 years, fam.
Yeah, if she like killed the baby or something, or if the baby didn't make it.
Yeah.
But if there was a deliberate attempt at something further than just stab, I mean, you stab somebody, you don't just say, "Oh, I meant to stab somebody and not kill them." You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you say. You come at me with a weapon, the assumption is you trying to kill me.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Like, about attacking someone with weapons, like, you shoot somebody, you just shoot them. That's it. You stab somebody, that's pretty intimate. You gotta really get into them to stab someone. Like, you hear these stories about people stabbing someone like fucking 10, 15 times. Like, man, I get tired by that time.
Yeah, they do that in play. It's kind of crazy because here we call it stupid. In other countries, we call that honor. It's like, if you're gonna take somebody's life, you walk up to them like that. That's why they do that in like the Dominican Republic and Jamaica and shit like that. Certain places. I'm not saying off-putting murder. All murder's bad, by the way. Just drop that in there. But some people think that if you're going to do that, it needs to be on a personal level, and you're not just going to shoot somebody in the back. There's gangs and stuff that say literally you have to be facing somebody when it goes down. So I don't know. I just think for her, you should know better. You're in way too good of a position to let anything bother you that much.
I actually blame Floyd. He's probably the one that taught her to go for the body anyway. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. That's crazy. Brandon, what else crazy news we got going on? Man, that's crazy.
Well, I'm gonna just touch back on the 6ix9ine thing real quick. So 6ix9ine got out of jail, right? He hasn't dropped any Instagram pictures, hasn't tweeted nothing like that, right? And apparently, he's gained like however many hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of followers on Instagram.
1.5.
He made a new profile pic where he's on a rat trap and he's eating cheese, and on his profile bio it says, "Why everyone calling me a rat? I'm missing something." And he don't care. He said he wasn't gonna troll no more. He's already on trolling. That's already happening. I don't know what's wrong with that man. I hope he's gonna be okay. Especially after the quarantine's done. I hope he can go outside. I don't like what he did. That's just me personally. I don't like, snitching is not cool in that regard. But I mean, You know, he had to do what he had to do, and I'm not gonna listen to his music. You know, I deleted all his songs that I ever had on his in the library from him, and he has some turn ups. He has some heat too. You know, like some stuff that gets you hyped. But I can't condone in that manner if what you're you know what you're if you're not living that what you're preaching. I can't mess with you. You know, that's fake. I don't want fakeness in my ears. You know,
I
so I can't mess with it.
I have a little. I don't know. People might not like me for saying this, but I have this issue with the street lifestyle, and I don't live that. So whenever people get caught up for street violations, such as quote unquote snitching, bro, say what you got to say to be free. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you got one life to live. Don't nobody want to be in no box. He made stupid decisions for I don't know, he wanted fame. You
Yeah,
know, he wanted out of a situation. I get all of it. Desperate times calls for desperate measures, but you got caught up. I still don't think he should have sat there and kept his mouth closed to protect the street credit that wasn't real in the first place. So if
yeah.
you look at it from that point of view, I'm okay with this kid walking free, because one, he's not harmful to anybody. If you talk about the sticks and stones things, let's keep it real. Nobody's physically scared of Takashi 6ix9ine. You know what I'm
I
saying?
wouldn't. I definitely agree with you as far as like do what you got to do. My only problem is like he was the one that tried to get Chief Keef killed. He's the one that hired Kuda B or whatever to shoot at Chief Keef. And he's also the one that was inviting violence to come to him. You know, he'd go out to whatever corner and be like, "I'm in your hood, I'm in your hood," and it would be like at midnight or something, or like 2 in the morning. Nobody's out there, everybody's inside already. You know, and then he posts whatever. Like it's kind of like you trouble. So it's like don't you just fucking around too much, you know. And that's kind of it in a
Yeah,
nutshell. It's like I definitely get like he wasn't no threat to nobody like realistically, like physically, like
yeah.
I'm pretty sure anybody could take him. And like he had fake, it's just fake rhymes and stuff. You know, it's like I don't really see what you can give us in your music now, especially like if you did come back out trying to preach like this, I'd be like you're crazy. What are you talking about, sir? What are you talking about? What are you doing? I don't know. I
I,
just know for me, I'm not gonna mess with the music no more, and
I
can just
I
leave
don't know
that out.
about you, but I mean, does a low street credit stop you from buying a house? 'Cause, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the credit I really care about, man. I'm sorry. Handle your business. He's a troll. Everybody should treat him like a troll. The problem is, honestly, if you want me to keep it G, he's not the problem. Everybody giving him attention because of the little things that bother them is the problem. And the more you feed it, the more he grows. The more his worth goes up. And that's how we treat everything now. It's disappointing from my standpoint, but me saying something, other people of my mindset saying something isn't going to change anything. There's too many people who live lives that they're not exactly proud of, and they're not trying to push for progression, and they end up just sitting on their phone scrolling and scrolling, and he just happens to be the topic that they're feeding into. And
Yeah,
that's pretty much what happens. You know what I mean? Like we've pretty much got used to that now. People obviously understand that any attention is good attention in terms of your worth, kind of. If people acknowledge you, they feed into it, and that's that.
yeah, and it's exactly what's happening with him right now. Is that it's not even the fact that he was, even if you're saying like, oh, I'm probably not going to listen to a lot of his music because it was a fake persona, it was a fake sort of idea of who he is, but now he's just that he's exactly that now. He is an internet persona. Like we have people getting famous for no reason whatsoever, and their name just continues to be played throughout these media for no reason other than the fact that they have their name out there. So I mean, right now, if anything, just all these small little like that little that message you sent us that had him saying, "Hey, what's everyone calling me a rat for?" That small little snippet of attention just probably got him a buttload of money. He got a lot of
Mm-hmm.
exposure. He's gonna get a lot of stuff from that, and at this point, he doesn't need to make music. Now, do I think he will? Of course, I think he'll probably come out with something. He has like a, I heard that he has like a record deal or something that was already planned for him out, but like this is the society we live in nowadays, where he's now an internet persona, and no matter what happens, no matter what way he goes with his music, we're always going to have to deal with him in some way, shape, or form, as long as people keep feeding into it, like Joey said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel that 100%. Really, I mean, it kind of reminds me of the lesson you learned from the show on Netflix, "Don't Mess with Cats." It's like the same thing. They kind of talk about, we're complacent because we're all feeding into this. We're all kind of giving him that fame, giving him that attention that he wants, and it makes him more famous. Um, it's kind of like an evil superpower, huh?
Yeah.
But
Right.
let's I guess let's stop talking about him, because that's all we can do, really, is not talk about him and kind of ignore him. Let him be that little badass kid and just ignore him and let him fucking run out of steam. That's pretty much all we can do.
Exactly. You ever spent some time with like a kid? You ever go to like a random party and there's some kid you don't really know and he's like messing with you, or he or she? There's just some kid messing with you,
Yeah,
poking with you, and at first you're just like, stop it, leave me alone, or you're entertaining it, and they don't stop. Then you just start ignoring them, and eventually they just
stop.
stop. And that's exactly what we need to do with 6ix9ine and all of those other individuals that don't really deserve all that attention.
That's a
Yeah.
fact. That's a fact for
But
sure.
we get bored, and people just. That's exactly what I mean. Why do people like horrible TV shows? One, it's preference, right? Like it's just it
Some
happens
people
to
just have
people.
bad
Like
taste.
some people just got bad taste. The problem is a lot of these people that got bad taste like the same thing.
It's all mind numbing. It's all something that just distracts you from what you're doing in your regular life.
That's true. Speaking of being mind numbing, these superhero films, y'all heard about
Wow.
the whole entire Marvel lineup moving back?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of shitty.
So basically, what ended up happening, like I just said, the entire Marvel lineup just got moved back, and now instead of the Widow film we were supposed to get, I believe in May, that's what, like, next month we're supposed to get that. The newest content we're supposed to get from Marvel currently is Falcon and Winter Soldier. That I doubt that's going to happen because I'm hearing rumors about, obviously this quarantine getting extended, and I don't even think they finished filming. They had to leave or whatever to before they finished filming, so I don't even know if we'll get that. I mean, we'll see, obviously, and fingers crossed that we do get the rest of the movies on at a decent time. But it sucks that everything kind of got moved back, especially with there being such a huge gap now between the end of Phase 4 and the start of Phase 5, or yeah, the start of Phase 5. So we'll see, what happens. Or no, I'm sorry, that's we Phase 4 now. That was the end of Phase 3, right? The Avengers
I don't
for
even know
Spider.
at this point.
I want to say it's the start of Phase 4. That sounds right. So we're supposed to be getting the start of Phase 4. We haven't got it yet. It's supposed to come out next month. Looks like it's going to come out way later. I think like it got switched with the Eternals release date or something like that. So like now Black Widow's scheduled to come out at the end of the year. Eternals got bumping back everything like a freaking domino effect, which totally sucks. But I mean, at least we'll get something soon, hopefully. As far as like the DC films and stuff, I don't know if you guys heard about Ezra Miller, the little skinny white dude that plays the Flash, who makes him look like a big pussy. Um,
Is he
he
is he
might be
the
out of here.
is he the movie is he the movie Flash or is he the TV show Flash?
He's well, I mean, I see what you did there, but he's the movie Flash. So he might be out of here as Flash because apparently there's a video of him choking out a woman. People don't know if it was like a piece of content he was doing or something. I don't know. Like there's big speculation about it, and all I know is that he choked out some woman on camera, and it's not a good look for the Flash, obviously.
Piece
What
of
kind of I
content.
was gonna say, what kind of content is that?
I People be doing wild stuff, man. People be doing wild stuff on
Shit,
the internet,
where's he
on
posting
Instagram
that
now.
shit at?
No,
I
sorry.
don't, I
Is
don't
this a
know.
white
I
guy?
don't know. It's a white dude, yeah.
Yeah, that's why
Or
they call it a piece
I
of
don't
content.
know. He's got like dark hair. He might be like mixed or something. I don't know. Maybe he's like European or something. But I mean, hey, he's the dude from, I don't know if you ever seen the Harry Potter movies, the new ones. The what's it called?
Fantastic Beasts.
Fantastic
Fantastic
Beasts.
Beasts?
There you go, the Fantastic Beasts. Yeah, he's the new guy from or the not the new guy, but he's like the guy that had like that weird creature inside him, and he has like that bowl cut. That's Ezra Miller. I can't remember many other movies that he's been a part of, even though I'm sure there's some big famous ones. And obviously the Flash was his big, like, oh my gosh, he's the Flash. So yeah, he might be out of here. And then last but not least, I don't know if you guys ever seen Train to Busan, but you need to watch it. I repeat, watch Train to Busan. That movie, super fire as fuck. It's a crazy zombie movie where like the zombies just like go ape shit. It's almost like World War Z as far as like the term in terms of zombies. It's super great. It's a bunch of zombies on a train. You have to like switch trains at some point. There's people like being treacherous as hell. It's like rich people, poor people. There's this super badass dude that's there with his wife and she's pregnant. There's the main character is like a guy and he has like a failing relationship with his daughter, stuff like that. It's a great movie. It kind of touches your heart a little bit. You know, there's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of like super dope moments and stuff. And they're making a sequel to it called Train to Busan Presents Peninsula. I'm super excited for it. If you guys seen Train to Busan, I'm sure you're super excited for it. There's a trailer right now on YouTube. Check it out. It looks lit. Train to Busan once again, super lit. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. All right.
Hey, I got a question.
Go ahead.
We just touched on the that superhero topic. Can you bring up the old boy from the real life superhero that got caught up?
Oh my god.
We got to go in on that real quick.
Okay. This is a bit of an old story, but so with the quarantine that's been going on, I've kind of been going on like a rabbit hole in on YouTube. So like my YouTube is all jacked up right now with stuff that I don't normally watch right now, right? I've been watching this thing called Hit Politics, where I've been learning a lot of like information about like famous cases that involve like street gangs and stuff, like in LA or wherever. For example, the guy that shot Ricky inside Boys in the Hood, he actually went on to like do a couple other films. Then he actually became like a real gangster in real life, and then like ended up going to prison because he killed some people, and then he got killed by a devil worshiper, and then like his body wasn't found for like 2 days, and the only reason why it was found is because they saw the guy that was his roommate, because he was actually a born-again Christian and a satanic worshiper, were in the same cell. They found him doing ritualistic practices to his body, and that's when shit hit the fan and his family got involved, etc. Right?
Wow.
So while on this rabbit hole, I found a bunch of stuff, and one of the things I saw was the rise and fall of Phoenix Jones. It was like an hour or something like that, or like 40 minutes like long, where they basically talk about Phoenix Jones, who was a superhero, quote unquote, in real life, a superhero in Seattle. He wears like this like black armor, black and gold. Apparently, it's like bulletproof or whatever. It's pretty cool looking costume, right? A lot of people knew that he was an MMA fighter previous. Obviously, his secret identity is everybody knows it or whatever. Apparently, a lot of times like the police had issues out there, right? He made this whole organization. I can't remember what it's called at the top of my head, but he had a lot of people that were involved with it. Other people who were doing like real life superhero stuff, right? And he wanted to like make a real big difference between him and people who are like delivering sandwiches to like the homeless and stuff like that. He was like, I'm here to stop crime. I'm here watching people like commit acts and then like doing a citizen's arrest and then like helping people get stopping them from getting mugged or raped, watching people like buy prostitutes and trying to stop that kind of stuff, sex trafficking or whatever. He was out there doing like real stuff, and like getting fights. There's even a law in Seattle. It's a dual state where like you can fight you can fight in front of the police as long as like the two people like both agree, and then as long as there's no like collateral damage, like you don't break anything or whatever, right? So there's like one part of the video where he talks to a guy and he's like, this is a duel set. We can fight if you want to, right? Because the guy was being like super aggressive with him, and the police were there and they were like, so is it okay if we fight? The guy agreed and the police let them fight, and he like rocked the dude in like 2 seconds. So he was doing legit stuff, and as the video goes on, you find out like he had kind of shady dealings going on with like the his superhero teams or whatever. They seemed like legit in operation, like how it was broken down, but he was like apparently having them pay for like insurance that they didn't actually have. He was selling drugs on the side too. And nobody knew for the longest. He had a lot of fallings out. He threatened one of his old superhero friends because he was like talking to one of his ex-girlfriends. He actually got married to one of them, and then they got divorced, separated and divorced. And basically, what ended up happening is he went to jail for the whole drug selling thing. And then I think about February he got released from jail. So right now he's out. He's out on bail. Obviously, the superhero thing is no more. That whole like superhero society is pretty much washed in Seattle. And that is pretty much the fall of Phoenix Jones. You can look him up on YouTube. There's tons of videos. Phoenix Jones. I forget his real name off the top of my head, but
hilarious.
He was
drug dealing. He was a drug dealer the whole time.
This is crazy, man.
Who was he fighting on the street? Other drug dealers? And with the police's permission? That's hilarious.
Like he would like find drug dealers, like get the police involved or whatever. Like, oh, we were recording, like, because he would have like a filmographer there the whole time with him. So like he would go out on patrol, and there would be somebody in his team would always be filming everything. So there was like a video of him like where these people were like fighting and he stops them, and then they claim that they were all like just dancing and having fun in the street, and then the police were like, no, the film and all that stuff like that. It's like some of the times the film saved him from like little altercations or whatever with the police, because they're like, oh no, like they were clearly fighting or whatever, so like, you know, this is evidence or whatever. Stuff with drug dealers, him like watching people like pay for like sex or something like that, you know, like he was filming all this stuff to make sure like he didn't get in trouble, like, oh, I'm just gonna go out here and beat somebody's ass and not have no proof. He was like, no, like it's all on camera, bro, like I got what you were doing right here. I saw you selling drugs to whoever. I saw you trying to score whatever, you know, like he had it all on film. So like I said, it seemed like a somewhat legit process. And he was even concerned that, like, you know, they're going to shut us down if we're not doing it more legitly. But it's just like some of the dealings that he was doing behind the scenes obviously were much more shady than he was letting people know, you know. It sucks that it had to be a black dude too. That's the worst part. Like,
well, I mean, to his defense, this happened in Seattle, so who knows? Maybe he OD'd on some Starbucks and went crazy.
Oh man. But moving on into gaming news, quite a bit of stuff happened this week. First and foremost, Sony is offering automatic refunds for The Last of Us Part 2 and for Iron Man VR. Both games are going to be delayed due to COVID-19. I also want to say, first and foremost, I have been saying that Last of Us Part 2 was not going to come out this year. It's been supposed to come out for like the last 3 years. I don't know why y'all think it's going to come out now. Just give up. It's never gonna happen. Just give up on it. The PS5 controller was revealed. Some people thought it actually looked like a cross between the PS4 and the Xbox One controller. It kind of does to me. It looks kind of weird to me as well. I don't know what they thought about their choice for. I wish it kind of looked. I definitely wish it looked different.
That thing kind of reminded me of a Dreamcast controller when I first looked at it.
A Dreamcast controller.
unless I have the wrong system, but it totally screamed a completely different system to me, but not Xbox or nothing like that. It was either Dreamcast or one of them old ones like Super Nintendo or something like that. Almost, I don't know what the heck.
They're saying that supposedly that controller is going to be able to like capture like your thermal image, like your thermal signature and all kinds of other stuff, like it's going to be able to do a lot instead of just like, oh, you can just touch the pad or whatever. It's going to be able to do a lot more apparently.
So what's the battery life on that then? Without having to stay charged.
I actually haven't seen that. I don't know if they've tested that or not yet. Like, you know, just had somebody playing on it, you know, just to see how long it lasts. But I mean, I'm sure it can't be that long if it's doing that much, unless the battery is much more powerful. In which case, hey, radiation, yeah.
It charges by the heat of your hands. It sucks out your soul.
Oh, jeez.
Yikes!
Oh yeah. What I was right. It's a Retro Fighters Dreamcast controller. It looks exactly like the PS5.
Oh, I haven't. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Man, I said I got Gamecast. Can't afford it. Hey, I actually think I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I remember when I want to say PS2 and not the original Xbox, but maybe the 360. I think the PS2 and the 360 came out around the same time. A lot of people who were trying to choose up between PS4 between PS2 and Xbox, they made the controller an issue. They said that the PlayStation controller was a little too skinny. It didn't fit your hand as well, even though they had the triggers and blah, blah, blah. Well, now Xbox folks don't have too much to say about the controller stuff because it kind of fits that Xbox mold. I do prefer the PlayStation controller simply because you have both analogs low on the controller. The high analog stick on the Xbox kind of throws me for a loop a little bit. But I don't have a problem with it. I mean, it's just the way it looks. As soon as you put it in your hands and you start playing, you don't even look at the controller anymore.
It's very symmetrical. It fits comfortably. It's very symmetrical. Everything's exactly where everything can be on the opposite side. And I don't know why Xbox players be talking about how small the original PlayStation controller was. You see how fucking big that Xbox controller was when it first came out?
Yes.
Goddamn brick. That shit was big as fuck.
Hey, anything that we got after the Nintendo 64 was an upgrade because that remote, people liked it for certain games, but that remote was atrocious. Okay, having that one analog in the middle section, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. Not a fan.
Definitely super weird for sure. Saints Row the Third is getting remastered for current gen. I don't know why. I don't know if anybody that asked for this. Apparently, it came out like 9 years ago. Saints Row was a pretty popular franchise. I don't know why they wouldn't just make a new game. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Because they got competition in Grand Theft Auto. They can't beat out Grand Theft Auto at all.
Hold on. Before you say they got competition in Grand Theft Auto, you need to rephrase that correctly. Grand Theft Auto has a little bit of competition in Saints Row. Not much, a little bit.
Not even. Saints Row is nowhere near as good of a game as Grand Theft Auto is.
That's why I'm telling you, you need to correct yourself. Saints Row is Grand Theft Auto's competition, but barely, because Grand Theft Auto is king. So Saints Row is trying to throw a little bit of competition in there. But they ain't got much. It's a little fun, but it ain't all that. Definitely, Grand Theft Auto got a solid story, got solid customization.
Yeah, we can say that now. Levels. Do you remember the original Grand Theft Autos with the aerial view where the guy was just turning ways and the map was just a circle with the arrows on it?
Yeah.
That was absolutely horrible. I can't believe we had fun playing. Well, I don't know if you guys did, but I tried to have fun playing that, and I cannot believe I had fun playing that back then.
Yeah, super. Those games were wild, super goofy. But I mean, definitely good times. And last but not least for gaming news, Final Fantasy VII, or this is actually not the end, but Final Fantasy VII was a remake was released. I'm probably going to talk about that more for something you're messing with, because I'm definitely messing with that game right now. But yeah, it's out if you guys had pre-ordered it or trying to download it or something. It is officially released. And then finally, last but not least, Season 3 of Call of Duty has started. Obviously, another 100 tiers or so of things you can unlock, basically, and play the game with your friends, shoot them up. Warzone is free, in case you guys didn't know that.
Oh dang, there's still Warzone, man.
They also release quads in Warzone now, so you can pair up with a team of 4 and go into the map. There also still is trios, so if you have 3 players versus 4, you can still do that, play that way as well. Just so you guys know. And moving on to sports, guys. I know you guys are loving this stuff. So first and foremost, NFL's first ever online draft is happening apparently because of COVID-19. It's kind of like, I called it like real life fantasy football. This is the first time this has ever happened. What do you guys think about that? Is it like weird? Is it like, it's whatever, it's about time or something? Or you guys think this might be the way of the future potentially? Or do you think that the live drafts like in person should be always the norm?
I want to know what's going to happen to the team's internet connection that gets lost. Do we just pick their team for them, or what's going on here? That's probably the biggest problem I'm going to see with doing that. But I'm actually interested to see how they get it done, because especially the way we do it with fantasy football, how you just mentioned that it seems like that's what they're going to be doing anyway. So there's going to be an interesting aspect to it. The normal draft, it's like you get to see everybody's face, but the one thing I hate about the normal draft is that dude that's in the room that everybody thinks like, oh, he's going to be like a top 10 pick, and he doesn't go until like the second day. You got to watch that dude be sad the entire day. Like I hate saying that.
I personally, it don't make no difference. I mean, the ceremony is there simply for the people who are involved, but all those moves are made, all those decisions are made in a room anyway. And the internet connection is probably minimal because I'm pretty sure they make a phone call to call, they call in those picks anyway. So unless all the phone lines are down too, ain't no difference. It's just a little showmanship part of it. You could miss me with all that anyway. I mean, I think the last, I don't know how many drafts, I probably watched halfway through the first round, and the rest of it I was just getting alerts on my phone through my ESPN app. So I mean, it's a little different, but it's also kind of it's the same.
I kind of think that like it's the sort of thing that I do agree with you guys in the fact that it's gonna last. It's gonna be okay. The fantasy draft basically is going to be just like how they call in every single draft pick, and these guys they're gonna talk. They're still gonna be able to play these things on SportsCenter. You're still gonna have a dedicated Sports Center, ESPN. Someone's going to have these analytics. Someone's going to talk about, they're going to have highlights and all these things like you normally see. I just kind of think that just like how we've had the issue right now with COVID-19 affecting a lot of these seniors, all these people that are like, man, it sucks that I can't graduate, go to prom. That same sort of idea, it kind of sucks. I think it kind of sucks for these kids because it's like, and I say kids in the honest fact that all these people are like men, like 20, 22, 24-year-old men. These guys are going to go through they don't get to go through the same process that the Ezekiel Elliott's and the fucking like the Todd Gurley's and the Melvin Gordons, they don't get to go through that same process of being in that center stage, like being in front of the fans that are going to like watch them for the rest of their lives. And I think that kind of sucks. Ultimately, it doesn't matter.
Time out real quick. Speaking of what you're talking about right now, I don't know if you guys heard about the kids that are like graduating right now too in high school. There was one in particular I seen where a bunch of students graduated and they used robots with like iPads on the face.
Oh, in Japan,
to graduate from home or whatever. And then the robot would like go across the stage and like like the principal or whoever, the dean or whatever, they would like put their arm around the robot and stuff too and like take a picture. I was just like, bro, don't even. Why am I going to waste my time on this FaceTime? I'm just going to leave. I'm not here for this. Send me my diploma in the mail. If I don't walk, all right, fine. That's cool. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal.
But that reminds me, like, this is going to give somebody a chance to really show their character in the draft. Like, I want them to pan to somebody's living room and like everybody's in hazmat suits, sit next to each other.
Just going, oh my god,
just absolutely ridiculous.
And the other thing, as far as sports is concerned, that list, that all decade list. I think Daniel's the one that shared it with us. NFL drops the all decade list, and I think we all kind of agree that the biggest snub on that list was Drew Brees. There's not really any. There's no like solid structure to it as far as like why pick so many, like why pick however many players you pick per position or whatever. Some positions that are singular have multiple players. Some positions that have a lot of players obviously have multiple players. I don't know why it's picked the way. There's even a flex on there, and that's not a real position. I don't get the list. I don't understand it. I don't know who made this or who came up with this list. Like if it was a meeting, if it was one person, it's a wild list. And once again, Drew Brees is not on the list.
Yeah, because you remember a few years ago, right, when Peyton Manning and Tom Brady were at their peaks, right? And they were like, oh, who's going to break the touchdown record? Who's going to break the single yards in a season record? You remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Guess who set those?
Drew Brees, exactly. Yep. Drew Brees is the greatest quarterback of all time. I will be the first to say it. First and foremost, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. I don't give a damn.
It's because of the damn position. I mean, think about it. If defensive ends, all-time great defensive ends, okay, if they set records for sacks, 20 plus in a season, but their team doesn't win a Super Bowl, do we still acknowledge them as the greatest player at their position?
I mean,
hell yeah. But for a quarterback, you can't be the best player at your position and not win. It's a totally different standard, and I hate it. I mean, I'm gonna be one of the first people to come to Tom Brady's backside and say, hey, look, yeah, he won rings, but that's not why he's good. He's good because of this, that, and that. Yeah, he does a lot of check down throws, but he is the guy that rallies when it matters the most. Is he better than Drew Brees? Hell to the no. I'm sorry. Yeah. Drew Brees is that guy, man. It makes no sense. And who else was out? Did they only take one quarterback?
No, they had two. They had Drew. So Drew Brees was the biggest snub, and what they had as quarterback was Tom Brady, obviously, and Aaron Rodgers.
Give me a break. I saw Aaron Rodgers completely break down when Jordy Nelson got hurt. Do you guys remember that? I think it was like 2016 or something, maybe 2016-ish, maybe 2017-ish.
Yeah, it was the year. It was. I believe it was 2016 because I think 2017 was when Jordy went to the Raiders.
So one wide receiver goes down, and all of a sudden you can't complete a pass. Yeah, miss me with all that. I'm taking Drew Brees.
I definitely. I mean, is that? I'm surprised you guys were going to go off more about how none of the other greats like Peyton Manning or anybody else is on that list either. Of course, like you guys said, Drew Brees is probably the biggest snub on that list, but I'm sure there's a lot of receivers you guys wanted on that list. I'm sure there's more running backs you guys wanted on that list.
Well, as far as receivers, you can't really take anybody off. As soon as I saw Calvin Johnson, I was like, he's definitely in there. Julio Jones is definitely in there. Antonio Brown has had the best numbers since 2010. So there's really no room to wiggle anywhere.
What year did Calvin Johnson leave the league?
2018, I believe, right?
I want to say 17.
Oh, was it? It was not 18. Wait a minute. I'm high. When did he get out the league?
Calvin Johnson probably dipped in like 2014 or 2015.
Let's act like we got smartphones. Hold on, let me go ahead and look.
because if you didn't play at least half that decade, you shouldn't be in the running for it.
He last played
2016.
in the 2015-2016 season.
I'm honestly, I love Calvin Johnson, but I got to leave him out. You didn't play. You didn't play. You should have to have played 70% of that decade. I know it sucks because it leaves out a handful of guys. Like, what if your decade at Reign was between two decades? What if your reign was 2005 to 2015? How can I leave you out of those 10 years? But if you're defining the list by the 2010s, you know what I mean? I have to leave him out. I just have to. He walked away on his own power. I have to leave him out.
Who do you put in that spot though?
Who's
So,
who's on the list now?
So right now it's Julio, Larry Fitzgerald, Antonio Brown, and then Calvin Johnson.
Okay, so are we going by receptions, touchdowns, or what? Like just overall, who I think is better at wide receiver?
Oh my God, we're going to end up deep diving this.
I mean, ultimately, if I had to make any sort of adjustment, if you did take Calvin out, I think that probably the two names that come to mind for me would be DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green. Those two receivers.
Did you say Julio Jones was in there already?
Yeah, Julio Jones is already in there. Yeah.
Man, that's tough. It's even tough to say AJ Green because he's had some whatever, but we know what team he plays for.
But what about DeAndre Hopkins though?
Hopkins has been a stud since he came in the league, so I might have to throw him in there.
If we take Calvin out, I think it would have to be Hopkins. Hopkins is the only other receiver in that generation that has had.
No, wait. You still have Keenan Allen and Mike Evans too.
Nah, but over the course of the decade, them guys are barely springing into action as of the last 3 seasons.
Yeah,
I'm not giving them a decade. I'm not giving them a decade.
Well, Hopkins has only been in the league only like less than 5 years.
He's that much better than both of those guys we named.
I mean, I'm definitely not going to agree with. I'll definitely agree with that. I'm not going to fight that.
So he's been in the league right now for 7 years, and he has out of those 7 years. So we're assuming that it's from 2020 to 2013. So there's your 70% right there. From 2013 to 2020, and not counting the 2020 season yet, he's had 5 1,000-yard seasons consecutively. First team All-Pro in 4 consecutive years. And he has the most catches, receiving yards in the past decade, other than Calvin Johnson.
And it's the other than part. So it's, I guess I'm okay with it, but I would like to set a standard moving forward with these lists, and I agree with the 70%. I like that.
But I like how you brought that up though, because you said 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Mike Evans is at 6 straight going on with 1,000-yard seasons, but he doesn't have the accolades, also because of the team he plays for.
Yeah, and it's hard to make these lists because you have to understand all these people play for different coaches and different offenses and so on and so forth. I mean, the Buccaneers, we all know they pass like crazy. So
yeah.
Even on a down year, we expect Mike Evans to break 1,000.
Well, I mean, I can only imagine what he's going to do next year. Telling you, if you don't pick up Mike Evans in your fantasy football league, him or Godwin, you are making a mistake.
I'm picking the entire roster.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure about that, guys, because let's keep it real. The yardage at which he catches the ball before he starts running is going to be much shorter with Tom Brady. Tom Brady don't got that. Tom Brady's not going to take the top off the defense no more. Let's keep that real. He's going to keep those passes under 15, under 10 for 75% of the game. And these big body guys that they have, and then you have Godwin, who's just going to freaking run like hell. But you got these big guys who aren't going to have those opportunities to just like go get it in open space. They're going to have to run routes because that's Tom Brady's bread and butter. That's why he was so good with Edelman, who was probably not going to do crap on any other team. That's why he was so good with, who's the other one? Amendola, Danny Woodhead, all these little guys who aren't that athletic, who aren't this, who aren't that, but they're small, but they got good hands. They all have great feet and they're route runners. So it's going to challenge all their wide receivers to do the same.
But I mean, low key, Keenan Allen and Mike Evans have some of the best route running in the league.
Oh yeah,
agreed.
So I believe Mike Evans will be able to adjust himself to be able to go ahead and do those short routes.
You also got to believe. You also got to think. You got to remember that Tom Brady hasn't had a lot of opportunity with these big body type of receivers, and the times that he did have them, the Randy Mosses and the Josh Gordon, he he torched defenses with them. And
No, but
I know that he's not going to have the arm that he had back when Randy Moss was playing around. But even last year with Josh Gordon, for the minimum amount of time that he played with the New England Patriots, he still had productive games. And I think that Mike Evans is definitely one of the top 5 receivers of this current generation of receivers that is out right now. And I think that he's just going to put if Jameis Winston can put up 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns with Mike Evans and Godwin, he definitely. I think Tom Brady's going to have a great season with them.
Okay,
I'm gonna call 30.
let's not deep dive.
Yeah, Tom Brady. I'm looking at about 3,500, 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's what I'm looking for out of Tom Brady.
But they're gonna finish 8-8 and not make the playoffs.
They might finish. They might finish 11-5 because I think Tom Brady being a field general is a much safer bet than, hey, let's get the guy who can just run around a little bit and fling it, and hopefully we can throw for 5,000 yards and 30 something touchdowns. Like I don't know.
They're gonna need a defense, and they're also gonna need a running back.
They have a defense, top 5 defense last season.
Oh my god.
The worst pass defense last season.
You know what? What if Drake was a statutory rapist? I would just say,
wow.
The hell.
What you gonna do then? What you gonna do then?
Next topic. Where'd this come from?
Definitely not drafting Drake if that's true.
Yeah.
All right, so give some backstory.
That's a whole new definition to flex.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Okay. The question I have for you guys is, what if Drake is a statutory rapist? This is stemming from just kind of rumors and
what if anybody is?
I mean, that's a good point. But speaking about this guy who has a lot of power, a lot of money, a lot of fame, a lot of critical acclaim, tons of accolades, such as R. Kelly or Michael Jackson or whoever, right? This stems from him supposedly being in contact with Millie Bobby Brown, texting her. I don't know what he needs to text a 15, 16-year-old girl for. He was dating some model that was like 18, 19 years old, like a year or so ago. Stuff like that. A lot of people were saying that he's kind of into younger women. So how would you guys feel about it? Like, I don't know if the R. Kelly thing affected you guys at all. It didn't really affect me because I wasn't so intertwined with like that music. Like, I've heard it, of course, but R. Kelly, it's like, okay, I don't have any R. Kelly songs in my phone, so it's not bothering me. I'm not doing anything to support him. But as far as Drake, how would you guys feel? Would you guys still support him? Would you guys listen to the music you listen to right now? Would you guys be able to separate the artist from the music? How would that affect your maybe opinion of him as far as his future is concerned, or the future in the music business?
I got 2 ways of looking at this. I'll go in on this one first. I got 2 ways of looking at this. One way is from the music side, and it really disappoints me. Another way is from like just the everyday guy side, where it disappoints me, but it also, like, I kind of understand because he's not the first and he's not the last. You know what I'm saying? There's definitely people who are attracted to younger chicks, I guess. I don't know if it's a mental thing or if it's just like the youth kind of makes people feel alive. I don't know. But from a music standpoint, I'm a Drake fan. And I've listened to a lot of his every song. I've listened to every Drake song, to keep it real with you. And some of the songs that he be singing in, like what he sings, it would just upset me and kind of confuse me to think, man, you let this teenage girl get in your head like this? I'm just hoping you talking about a girl well into her 20s, a seasoned veteran, maybe even in her 30s now.
Yeah.
But if you over here singing these heartbroken songs over a girl that's 16, I swear to God, I'll stop listening. Right hand. I'll stop listening.
And I ate it in the morning. He was talking about a 16-year-old. Like, oh man,
come on, man.
Wow. I like it leads right into the question. Like, how would you feel? Like, how would you be able to go back and listen to any of them songs? Because when I found out about Tyga and Kylie, I was looking at some of them old verses by Tyga. Like, I know he was talking to, fam.
We also have to acknowledge the fact that some of these people who live in this, I guess, this celebrity world that we're not really a part of. I know that there's different like rules and different things that people feel they can get away with. So I'm not letting that go. I know that there's definitely people who have fame, and especially like somebody who comes from a famous family. Like if there's a girl who's 17 and she's part of a famous family, and the family friend is a guy who's like late into his 20s, but like the way they communicate is on a celebrity status. You know what I mean? So like it might not mean so much to the people who don't have much to lose. They just forget that at the end of the day, they're still a regular ass person. And if you get in trouble, that regular ass person does regular ass time. So
Yeah.
you need to get it together, player.
Did you guys hear
Get
about
it.
the letter that he wrote her?
Oh
They
my god.
published it.
Who?
Drake wrote Millie Brown.
What?
Yeah, I have it right here. I'm looking at it. It says, "Baby, you win the time cold. The night is still young. Drink that dinner wine slow. I'm trying to make the goose
Oh
go
my
20."
I thought he
Too
was being
far.
ass.
Too
I thought he was
far.
being ass.
I'm just saying you could do better. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh my
it would
god.
just upset me if all these songs we like people have made fun of Drake for being a softie and oh he's sensitive and blah blah. I hope that those songs were about women.
R.I.P. to the girl you. Oh my god.
Wow.
I'm
It's
ready for you.
it's just a weird topic, but let's keep it real. There's people all around us who, I mean, statutory, you know what I mean, stuff like that, like relationships. Like I said, one time I was, especially like when you're of age, like if you're 16, 17, 18, 19, ultimately you're still all the same age. And I get that the technicals about being 19 and said like if you're 19, your girlfriend's 17, nobody's really gonna like bat a real eye. You know what I'm saying? But when you're in your 30s and you're talking to somebody who can't legally buy their own drinks, so you're gonna feel some kind of social pressure to either stop or not. And if you don't feel that pressure to stop, you get in trouble, i.e., Mr. R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know for myself too. Like I definitely probably could never listen to any of his music anymore. I don't think I could really separate the artist from the music like that. And as well as like you're talking about like if you the social pressure. I feel like if that's something that you don't stop doing because of that social pressure, then like there's something wrong with your moral compass almost. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you have so much wisdom and knowledge, and that you're basically trying to what's the word that they use when like people when you're trying to like teach somebody young to like grooming. You're basically grooming, and that's
Right.
not cool. That's not cool at all. You're seriously taking advantage of a young underage person, and it's not okay at all. I hope he's not doing that. I really hope he's not doing that
And
because that would
from
be super awesome.
You mean
I
Cradle?
would say from my go ahead, Daniel.
I was just gonna say, they call that Cradle Robin too. By the way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
robbing
yeah.
the cradle.
I also think, well, I don't know. Maybe we're done with this. I don't want to get too much into it's kind of weird, player. It's kind of weird.
It just popped into my head, and I just really thought I wondered what y'all would say about it. That's really all it came down to. Super random thought. I still want to get into the simping thing. We'll get into that next episode, though. We'll talk about that next episode and the albums too. There's a lot of music came out, and we weren't even able to talk about that. But we're pretty much running out of time, so let's just move on to like our personal recommendations, something you're messing with. I'll start off as normal. For me, Final Fantasy VII, like I said earlier, it dropped, and it's a beautiful game. It's absolutely glorious. The scenery is just some of the most beautiful. It just the imagery I've never seen in anything, whether it's like an animated movie, other video games. It's just breathtaking. You really feel immersed in it. You get so much more of the detail of like the place that they live in. You from PlayStation 1 to PS4 is such a huge jump. So much time. I want to say Final Fantasy came out in 1997, maybe 94, somewhere around that time. Period. It's the 90s, and we're in like the 20s now. It's a huge difference, obviously, in terms of graphics and like and power of like consoles and stuff like that. And just what they were able to pull off with this, even though it's just a portion of the game, as a matter of fact, and how much they've expanded upon the story. You go do more stuff with like people, like with side characters that you didn't do in the past. They introduce other characters. His whole like Cloud's whole like mental crazy breakdown thing that happens to him. It happens like right away in the game versus like later on down the line. I mean, it's wild and it's super cool, and I'm here for it, man. And I know this game's gonna break my heart when it ends and when certain things happen that I know is supposed to happen. but it's beautiful. If you're trying to play it, definitely get your hands on it. It's great. It's awesome. Easy to maneuver controls. It's not super complicated or anything like that. But that's it for me.
With me, I would just go ahead and go with this little stuff called the Ozium air sanitizer for anybody who's still in the. And I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that. But but what I did is I took a long look when I was cleaning up my bathroom, and I noticed how many colognes I have. I've become a cologne connoisseur. And I have a bunch of Eau de Toilettes and Eau de Parfums. Yeah, I said it like I had to study how to say them things like that. But I just made like a huge purchase with Christian Dior. It's called Sauvage. So if anybody who's into like in the colognes or anything into fragrances or lotions or anything like that that actually smell good, you go ahead and check out Sauvage, check out Dolce and Gabbana Intenso. Those are some of my two favorites that I've found. You can find those anywhere. You can find them at in any Macy's, or since the malls are closed, you probably have to go find them at secondhand stores like a Walgreens or something like that. Sometimes they have them hidden away in the tuck. So if anybody else is trying to get into colognes or anything like that, check those places out and check those two brands out.
Joey, DJ. Oh, we lost Joey.
Well,
DJ.
so since we lost Joey, I'll go ahead and go next. So I got two quick things, real quick. I know I talked a little bit about it in one of our last podcasts not that long ago. It's called an album by Stone Temple Pilots. Album by Stone Temple Pilots called Perdida, which is lost in Spanish. It is a album that they dropped in February. I talked a little bit about it on just like a little snippet, but I've been giving it a real good listen since I've been on this quarantine, and I put one of their songs fairly well on our combination our combination playlist that we've been listening to. Definitely, it's chill vibe, something I've been messing with a lot right now. Something else, so just with all these other streaming services and all these things that have been coming out with a lot of movies and a lot of content, Trolls movie came out, and I obviously have kids. And the first thing I did is picked it up and watched it with the family. For someone that wasn't expecting to hear as much music as I heard, the Trolls World Tour movie actually had a pretty good, decent arrangement of music. It includes SZA, Justin Timberlake, Anderson .Paak is also in it, along with Kelly Clarkson, George Clinton. Um, just abundance of performers and people that make a lot of music that is really good. The movie as a whole is a great movie. is a good movie about our differences whenever it comes to music and our styles and the things that we like. I know it is a kids movie and it's something that a lot of people aren't going to be really vibing with, but the music is really good, and I honestly have added some of those songs from the movie itself onto my personal playlist. So I definitely would give it a watch and give it a listen if you have the opportunity.
Joey, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. You hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, cool. Something I'm messing with recently is nothing specific, just a little bit of some I would like to call it manual labor. Recently I've been ordering some furniture and stuff off of Amazon, or like Walmart or whatever, and I've been putting stuff together and feeling really accomplished lately, like building these things. And it's kind of making me go back to my early days when I used to play with Legos and stuff, and I'm kind of picking up this hobby again for creating things with my hands, and it's actually very
Therapeutic.
it's therapeutic, man. Like, it's very therapeutic. It's time consuming, when you pay attention, you do things right. So I'm actually considering probably getting into model sculpting and stuff like that, and model building. I would just recommend that to people who are losing their minds in this quarantine that we're going through. I know watching Netflix and playing video games all day isn't for everybody. You need to give your eyes a break. You need to, stop laying around, stop taking 5 naps, or stop eating. I recommend actually doing something. Like, pick something up with your hands, play with, you know, anything. Find something. Go online, look up some stuff. Just put your body to use for a second. You know what I mean? Give your eyes a rest, and it could be something. You might come across some new hobbies throughout this this pandemic that we got going on.
That's a great piece of advice. I remember I built a desk, and it took me like 2 or 3 hours that I bought off Amazon. It was a pretty big desk, and it's ruined now, unfortunately. But yeah, that felt amazing when I finished it. I felt super accomplished. Definitely felt like I did something major, and I that's a great recommendation. Definitely do that if you guys are interested in that. And I guess that'll wrap this up, right? All right, Piglets, this has been another installment of Culture by the Uncultured. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Culture by the Uncultured. Remember, Piglets, Culture by the Uncultured is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. We hope everyone out there is staying safe, and if you can't be safe, be deadly. Catch you guys next time. Peace.
You can huff, you can puff, you ain't blowing nobody's house down around this way.